Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's been a rough week, I have to say. And vaccinations, and I caught hand, foot, and mouth off my daughter as well. Not the one for the cows, but the ones that the kids get at the end of summer. Anyway, I had to have a little bit of time to rest, and I've not really looked at the market. So I had a good look last night, and another double check this morning. And to be honest with you, things are looking all right. I mean, everything is basically doing what we've expected it to do, which was consolidate or reaccumulate basically after the breakdown, mostly within this zone, testing the lower side, testing now the upper side, and I think what we're planning on doing is at some point over the next, well, it could happen relatively soon, to be honest, but I would expect within the next 6 weeks, definitely, we will have broken out of this top side of the range here, which is about between 48 and $50,000 for Bitcoin, and then from there start to make new, more aggressive stabs up. That won't be without big moves back down again. Obviously, this is how it's going to go, and there's still a lot of fear in the market, surprisingly. And on the short-term time frames, we're talking like 4-hourlies, dailies. It's just going to be very noisy. For those who are happy to sit and basically admire the weekly basically puts us a little bit more at ease, I have to say. And to be honest, for those who talk about lengthening cycles, which is something that I'm open to. But at the moment, the 4-year cycle is so far so good, playing out more or less exactly how it should do. Even though this area here was premature, definitely, and I think that a lot of this massive upside here was caused largely by the lockdowns and the money printing, and obviously the March dump. There was a lot of reasons, I think, that led into the premature over evaluation of Bitcoin. But it doesn't mean that it ends here. I just think that this normally would have happened anyway, a little later on. But the cycle had been speeded up, I think, by this whole coronavirus dump and then money printing malarkey. So that's just my overall theory on it. But the lengthening cycles could become a thing, in my opinion, and until it happens, it's just a theory. But I'm very open to it, and the reason why I'm talking about it, I suppose, is, look, if we look at this chart on its own, for what we get here is we get a nice big move up, we're getting a dump, and we're continuing to move up. Now, for those who like to use the Ichimoku Cloud, like myself, what would happen, and it's basically in the process of happening at the moment, but what would happen if we continue to go into an uptrend, right? And I know this is on a logarithmic scale, so it looks more, well, I mean, there's not much to it, is there really? It's not much difference. But if we look at it like this, what we have here is we've got a Chiku span embedded deep within the price action. We're only going to get out of here once we break a new all-time high. The Chiku span being this lagging span here. That needs to be above price action. This price needs to be above the cloud. And then we have to have this blue cross this red on the weekly. And that would spark what would be 3 levels of confirmation for one of those excellent, perfect, lovely signals that we all like to sit and ride, and that would give an entry point on a weekly, right? And weeklies often yield the biggest moves. So I don't like to speculate about the overall price of Bitcoin, where it's going to be. I think it's not. I mean, it's not impossible to say, but I don't think it's helpful to think about where it could be in the I suppose anywhere away from about 6 months or so. But if we were to continue with this kind of situation and then make a new all-time high over the next couple of months, then we would get one of these signals. That signal would then say to me, let's ride this trend until the trend comes to an end. And with it being a weekly trend, the last time we got one of these was, whoopsie daisy, it was all the way back down here, around about 12,000, I think, from what I remember. The last time we got one of these confirmation signals. Right, so no, it was actually down here. It wasn't quite as good. So that wasn't a perfect signal. So this would be the first one, actually, out of this entire last part of the bull run that we were going to get one of those signals. And then we're talking about if we get one. We're not going to get one anytime soon, but if we did get one, I would be very open to the idea of lengthening cycles, because this would be such a big bullish signal in itself. And so if we get that at 60,000, or if we get that at 70,000, I would entertain the idea of maybe a 2-3 3 or 4x, or maybe even more. We just don't know, but it would be a decent signal that we would get, and we would only get it really once we've broken an all-time high. Or we hang around this period until the cheeky span manages to break outside of this price action area here, which, we've got a giant red wall here of more or less 50% to where the cheeky span is already halfway up now. So it wouldn't take a great deal of time. We'll measure it out before this breaks out. It would be 77 days. 77 days from where we're at right now. And if we think about where the price action is right now, where's 77 from here? That would be November. So we would very likely get the signal that we're looking for around November-ish, if not before, or maybe a little after. But we look like we're going to get one of those signals, but it's not going to happen immediately, definitely not. But it's definitely worth entertaining the idea that for those people who think that Bitcoin's not going to make $100,000, with the way that the chart looks on the weekly now, and so long as we don't break down from it, I think $100,000 is actually pretty easy to achieve if we were to receive one of those signals. Now, other things that we're looking at here, I mean, you don't need me to tell you that money flow index broke out of this, which is good. So money and volatility is coming in. We can see that here with the RSI as well. So momentum shifted here. We broke out of this descending trend. This bearish divergence broke. So now we're out of there. We're out there on the money flow index, and we've crossed above the 0 point here with the MACD as well. So all of this is looking bullish, 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 bullish on the weekly. Right. So this is why I always say, trading dailies, 4 hourlies, 15-minute, 5-minute charts. It's just too noisy, too crazy. It's just madness, really. And to go to bed on a red day, all depressed about the price action is not really the way to go about it. Things really. When we're looking at a chart that looks so bullish on a weekly, I really just see any kind of pullback is just a little bit of it's just like a just a bit of drama. It's nothing much. So if we're looking at the daily, though, however, we are above all major moving averages at the moment. We're turning down ever so slightly on the MACD, the RSI, and the money flow index. I think this, to be honest with you, looks like it's forming a consolidation at a higher level from this big move up that we've had right now, which is fine. It's perfectly fine to have that. This was a good 60% move from the bottom to top, 70%, 66 to where we are at right now. So a consolidation is required for something like that. And then continuing with the trend, which has golden cross. We're above the cloud. We're above all major moving averages. If we do pull back, I would imagine a pullback to possibly the 21, which where we are at right now is pretty much where we were tagged a couple of days ago. We're getting front run more or less, but thereabouts would be the biggest pullback I would expect to see, which is going to be between 46,700 and maybe, because this moves up every day, maybe 47,000. I really am not concerned over Bitcoin at all. So that's just my update on Bitcoin. I am going to look at some more altcoins throughout the day. Throughout this morning anyway, but this looks healthy and this represents the market's overall health. I still see that money is flowing into all of crypto relatively equally, and actually altcoins seem to be just about getting the upper hand ever so slightly. I still stick with the idea, however, that when Bitcoin finally breaks out of this accumulation range, the Bitcoin dominance is likely to increase probably quite dramatically and quite fast. So with all altcoins, for me, trading any altcoins, I'm largely taking profit into Bitcoin, even at these high levels up here, because it's the safer place for it to be taken. But again, I'm looking at all of this very bullish. The weekly is amazing. The daily is pretty good. I don't really need to really look at the other things. It's just noise. Like I say, my main positions are always going to be spot trading, and there's derivatives. They do serve a purpose, but there's no point in looking at smaller term time frames. Not when the trend is so clearly up for the daily and the weekly. So I'm very happy with the way things are shaping up, and I think it's just a matter of waiting out this year to see how amazing the crypto is going to end up becoming. Doesn't mean that all altcoins will also be taken with it. I think there'll be some which operate in a more bullish way than others, but generally speaking, I'm pretty bullish over the overall market. And the market so far, I would say, has been led by Bitcoin and Ethereum. Right, so it's a live stream tonight because I've not been able to do it this week at all. So for the Patreon members, I'll see you tonight at 8 o'clock, and we will go through as many altcoin charts as you want me to within a 2-hour period, so long as I hold up. I'm feeling a lot better now, so I should be able to sustain a solid 2 hours worth of altcoin damage. Anyway, take it easy, and I'll see you all later.